Apple's new iPhone Air is coming, and it's gonna be a huge deal. Being initially leaked and predicted by John Prosser last week, but this new Air leak was just confirmed by Mark Gurman. So in this video, we'll dig into the top 10 upgrades to expect. The first one is most definitely the crazy thin design, which points to what Apple did with the MacBook Air many years ago, but they're now doing it to the iPhone, making it incredibly slim, which is fitting because it was initially leaked as the iPhone 17 Slim model. He says the sales pitch will probably go like this: if you want something snazzier than a standard iPhone, but don't really need all the pro features, you can get something like the Air, which looks much cooler, being as thin as 5mm, which seems impossibly thin. But look at Apple's iPad Pro. It's basically that thin, yet it packs the M4 chip, which is crazy. Now getting into upgrade number 2, we have a complete redesign to the rear cameras. The information said that the cameras would move from the corner position where they've been for the last, 10 years, to a brand new location in the center of the back of the iPhone. Ming-Chi Kuo believes that there will only be one single camera on the rear, which definitely sounds really weird. But thankfully, we did get a leak from the information pointing to this specific iPhone Slim model getting a brand new mechanical aperture on the back, which allows it to switch apertures on the fly to adjust for exposure and depth of field and everything. Now moving on to upgrade number 3, we're expecting a huge improvement for the display. Now, not in all ways, because Ross Young said it's gonna have a 6.55-inch display, which is smaller than the current 6.7-inch display on the iPhone 15 Plus. But the big upgrade is actually gonna be Apple finally adding 120Hz Pro Motion to the new iPhone 17 models, including the iPhone Air. And on top of that, we also had leaks of Apple giving us a really tough anti-reflective coating on the display, which should be more scratch resistant, but also less reflective, which matters a lot to me because the Galaxy S24 Ultra has the best anti-reflectivity coating I've ever seen, and I want to see it on the new iPhones. Now on to upgrade number 4, we are expecting a brand new upgraded selfie camera. Yes, finally, after so many years, Apple is updating the selfie camera from 12 megapixels to 24 megapixels, and yes, it's coming on the iPhone Air model as well. The biggest benefit here is gonna be the higher resolution, which is gonna be more sharp, and the 24 megapixel sensor means that most likely the sensor itself is gonna be quite a bit bigger, and when you have a bigger sensor, you are automatically getting better low light performance, so you're gonna see less noise, less artifacts in the dark or dim lighting. That's a huge boost to selfies on the iPhone. Now moving on to upgrade number 5, this new iPhone Air model is expected to be one of the first to come with an Apple designed 5G modem chip, which is going to be a lot more efficient. If Apple uses their own, it's basically their own hardware mixed with their software, so the integration is gonna be amazing, which is gonna help your battery life. It's not gonna heat up as much, so less overheating. But for Apple, the big deal is they're gonna save money by not having to pay Qualcomm MSRP retail price for their modems. They're gonna keep it all in-house. Now on to upgrade number 6, the dynamic island is finally going to shrink and get a little bit more narrow, because Apple is rumored to be redesigning the Face ID sensor array, which means they're gonna be able to put some of those sensors under the display, which is an incredible feat. That's why we have the dynamic island compared to all these Android phones that don't use all the infrared sensors. Apple's keeping it around and they can finally put it under the display. But I'm personally excited to see how Apple's gonna refine the dynamic island, make it more narrow, and essentially the main goal is to make it stand out from the current iPhones and the current large dynamic island. So when you look at that new iPhone Air, you're gonna tell that yes, that is a new model. Now for upgrade number 7, we are expected to get Wi-Fi 7, which is gonna be an in-house Apple Wi-Fi chip, which means it is going to be a lot more efficient and better. But in terms of the technology itself, it is a major breakthrough and so much better than Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, basically making them look like Wi-Fi 5 in comparison, because for the first time ever, Wi-Fi 7 allows you to combine multiple bands into one. So instead of right now having to basically make 3 different Wi-Fi names that you have to hook up into and put the password in, Wi-Fi 7 allows you to make just one that you can connect to, and it automatically and seamlessly switches between them on the fly. Now getting into upgrade number 8, we of course have the A19 chip, which is going to be shared with the iPhone 17 model next year. Now we should of course see a big improvement in single core and multi-core performance. I have a good feeling that Apple could be adding more E-cores on the A19 and likely also improving the number of graphics cores as well for the GPU. And this is essentially going to be TSMC's 3rd generation N3P process, which means it's going to be the most refined 3 nanometer. So it's going to be really nice and efficient, very performant, right before Apple switches over to TSMC's N2 process the year after that. Now for upgrade number 9, we're going to be getting new battery technology. Yes, it's going to be featuring a stainless steel battery pack, which is incredibly important because they're going to be using stacked cell technology, which essentially doesn't swell as much, so they can jam pack more juice into that battery and keep it all contained in that stainless steel battery pack. That's going to be a big deal for the new iPhone Air model. On top of that, we of course should expect faster 40-watt wired charging and faster 20-watt MagSafe charging, which is actually rumored to come to the Pro models this year, but it should be coming to the iPhone Air next year. Now on top of that, they are making a new way of replacing the battery so it's more repairable. And finally, with upgrade number 10, we have the pricing, because we had a lot of leaks saying that Apple would position it as a higher end phone than the Pro Max, which meant that the price could be like $1,300 according to Ice Universe, but it just made no sense with the specs being worse. So John Prosser argued that there's no way it's gonna cost more than the Pro Max, which means it should be staying in the same kind of price range as the current iPhone Plus that it's meant to replace. And once again, Mark Gurman said that it's positioned as a snazzier version of the regular iPhone 17 with basically the same specs, but it's gonna look really unique and cool with that super slim design and the redesigned camera layout on the back. So if you choose to spend the extra money, it's gonna be really obvious that you have the brand new super slim iPhone Air compared to the regular iPhone 17. So with that said, those were the top 10 new upgrades for the iPhone Air. Let me know your thoughts down below and definitely subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.